Okay, hi again. Hi, Doctor. Again, greetings and to all participants. And again, I shall over to you, Dr. Sharuna from Iran, who will chair Breakout 2. Over to you, Dr. Sharuna.
So thanks everyone for inviting me. I hope that we are going to enjoy this session of conference as always. So if you're all ready and fine with the presenting number 2, if I don't mistaken, right? Lesson learned from the adaptation of post-flood housing reconstruction in Kuala Kelantan, right? So the stage is all yours. If you're ready, we are all here to hear you. So I just wanted to remind you something. You have 20 minutes for all your presentation, which is 5 minutes for Q&A with the chair and then 5 minutes with the audience. So consider the time and start when you're ready.
Assalamualaikum and good day. Can everyone hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yes.
Thank
Nick,
you.
okay, Nick.
Sorry. Assalamualaikum and good day to all of you. I am Nik Nurul Hana binti Hanafi from Faculty of Architecture and Acoustics on behalf of my co-researchers, Juliza binti Muhammad from University of Sheffield, Siti Aisyah Muhammad, Muhammad Hafiz Karami from Faculty of Architecture and Acoustics would like to present to you our research entitled Lessons Learned from the Adaptations of Post-Flood Housing Reconstruction in Kuala Krai. Unprecedented flooding had struck Malaysia in December 2014 due to extreme rainfall and strong winds during northeast monsoon season. So Kelantan was one of the most affected states, and Kuala Krai district here was identified as the hardest hit district in Kelantan, with the highest numbers of villages had to be evacuated. As you can see the photos here from the news, thousands of timber houses were severely damaged or washed away by the flood, including this concrete bridge here, and also railway tracks were also badly destroyed. So as the long-term recovery, permanent housing reconstruction had become the main agenda for federal and state government. So it is also worth noting that in order to achieve long-term recovery, post-disaster housing must be responsive to local culture and climate, durable and easily maintained, and also adaptable for future living, as well as developed with the beneficiaries' participation. So post-disaster housing reconstruction could affect the residents positively or negatively. However, numerous studies had revealed that residents were facing difficulties in their daily lives due to various housing problems. This resulted in housing adaptations or modifications. It is also can be considered as the residents' responses to the housing attributes, the deficiencies of housing attributes. So in the case of Kuala Krai, Kelantan, it was made explicit to the nation that disaster victims had finally received the house replacement. However, the impact of the housing reconstruction and occupants' adaptation during occupancy had remained undiscovered. Therefore, this research argues that it is necessary to assess the housing reconstruction from the residents' adaptations in order to discover the outcome of the project. Having said that, the research objectives are to discover how the residents were adapting to the new house setting after 2014 flood in Kuala Krai, and to explore the common house adaptations carried out within the housing reconstruction scheme. This research adopted case study as the methodology. We started off with observation to identify the potential houses that fulfill the housing adaptations data. And we further carried out with semi-structured interview to explore stories and experience as well as viewpoints. The population for this study is Rumah Kekal Baru or New Permanent House located in a village in Kuala Krai, which is Kampung Manik Urai Lama. And the housing contributor for this housing scheme was federal government. The total units built for this scheme is 48 units across the village. This is the location of the area of study. The scattered houses were built around this area, and we can see that this kampung or this village were located alongside the Sungai Lebir here. This is the river Lebir. The study adopted non-probability and we started off with purposive sampling to purposely select houses with adaptations or modifications. However, there were no exact data or exact numbers of modified houses from authorities. So we also adopted snowball sampling to get referrals from villagers who had modified their houses, and then they introduced the researchers to other villages. Eventually, 18 respondents agreed to be interviewed, and all the data was analyzed using thematic analysis. The finding of this research could be compiled into this chart. We will start with overview of RKB or the Rumah Kekal Baru. There were two types of these houses. And then we will discuss on housing choice and also followed by the motivations of housing adaptations and modifications. The overarching themes are spatial needs, functional affordances, and also economic affordances. These are the general overview of the two types of housing, RKB1 and RKB2. It can be distinguished by the design of this house. RKB1 was built on stilt, whereby RKB2 was built on the ground. And the floor area for RKB1 is slightly smaller than RKB2, and the spaces were almost the same. The main spaces were the same, in fact, only that the difference is that the toilet and bathroom were separated, whereby this RKB2 have two bathrooms. And another difference is that in RKB1, it only has one single entrance door leads to the living room or living area, whereby this RKB2 have two doors, just like in typical house. We found out that the floor area is the primary concern for the housing choice. Those who needed more spaces had thought on adding additional rooms even before the construction took place. This study discovered that residents had been actively modifying their houses. However, these modifications were made without consulting experts, whether engineer or architect. And this is in line with findings by Rosalie and Collins, which stated that this is a common scenario in rural Kelantan where houses were built or modified without building approval from the local authority. This study also suggested that physical adaptations were carried out progressively, primarily due to their financial constraints. So it was noting that before they can afford to modify the house, they were forced to modify their daily routines and traditions. So these are the motivations behind every house modification, namely spatial needs, functional affordances, and economic affordances. As for spatial needs, it was found out that space underneath this house in RKB1 was seen as an opportunity to fulfill their spatial needs, even though it's only 2.4 meters high. So the residents had constructed or enclosed this area underneath the house, just like in example in this photo here. They have constructed brick walls to enclose this area, and the one-story house built on stilt now had become two-story house. As for functional affordances, non-provision of certain house components had caused difficulties in their daily lives. So adaptations were made to fulfill certain functional needs which were not considered in the original house design. So in RKB1, they have provide secondary door and internal staircase as mentioned previously. In RKB1, there's only a single staircase and single access door. So they have constructed or added another internal staircase and additional door with space extension on the ground level to improve circulation as well as safety. So culturally, they also add additional toilet and bathroom with separated toilet and bathroom because they perceive that this is a practical solution for taking wudu or ablution and also washing clothes by hand because most of them still wash clothes by hand. In RKB2, most of them had provide porch in front of the house because this porch also represent an anjong, a covered exterior space in traditional Malay house. It also act as segregation between semi-private area, which is the porch, and the private areas, the main house. And also it act as a covered space for vehicles and also sitting area. And for economic affordances, this adaptation was made to fulfill or to resume their pre-flood business, where it is common scenario in Kelantan to conduct commercial activities at home. So the frontage was modified to for product display and commercial activities, while the kitchens were extended for production of or preparation of food. So there are several conclusions, findings that we have uh, discovered in this research. That these are shortcomings in the original house design had imposed further challenges and difficulties to the residents, which were discovered to be the major reason for housing adaptations and modifications. This study also portrayed that intrinsic values of
please consider the time too.
intrinsic values of Malay culture still persisted regardless of the house condition, and the modification has caused additional costs which could have been avoided by proper planning by housing donors. And from the analysis, it was apparent that housing reconstruction had missed the opportunity for inclusive post-disaster recovery, where the house design did not consider certain housing attributes, basic needs, and local traditions. So the research contributions, I'm not going to elaborate here, but the main findings are it also emphasized on the importance of evaluating post-disaster housing projects, and there's a need to improve the current post-disaster housing scheme in Malaysia, as well as if we ignore housing evaluation, similar problems may be occurring in the next project. And with that, I thank you. I would end my presentation. Thank you very much for listening.
Right, thank you. That was very interesting. And I hope no country would experience the situation that you explained. It's really painful. So I will just make my questions very short. Mehdi, I have something in mind. When you were comparing two type of houses that had been provided by the government, RKB1 and 2, yeah. So you are comparing two type of housings that they have different sizes. I mean different floor area. So it's quite considerable. This one is 667 and the other one is 818, right?
Yes.
So did you have any chance to compare two units that they are exact same size? Because when you interview with the people that they're living in a house which is quite considerable smaller than the other unit, you won't get the fair result out of it. Do you understand my point?
Yes,
I
yes.
just wanted to check with you, why did you pick 2 units to compare when they are not in the same booth?
Mhm. Okay. Actually, there are a lot of housing donors for post-disaster housing reconstruction in Kuala Krai. We have about 1,000 plus houses.
Mm-hmm.
So there are numerous donors actually. We have NGOs, federal government, and as well as state government. So we chose the housing provided by the federal government to maintain our homogeneity for this project, for this um, particular research. So
Mm-hmm.
we found out that from this homogeneity that we thought it is homogeneous, so they actually provided 2 types of house for the disaster victims to choose. And we wish to discover whether this type of houses or whether or not the floor area affected them. We also noted that there are several um, there are similarity between this housing choice, because in RKB1, those who need more space would perceive that the house can be added more room or more space. While in RKB2, they mostly didn't add any additional space because they felt that the floor area, um, which is 76 meters square, is enough for their current living condition. So in
So,
terms of living spaces, yeah, they actually the housing choice were depending on the floor areas of the house. So those who need more house, they perceive that the area beneath the house can
I
be
understand.
used for,
Okay.
can be add more rooms. Yeah.
So from my understanding, the thing is that according to your explanation, that means you couldn't have 2 units with different types, but still with the same size. Since you had this limitation of the units that you have taken as case studies was from the government, so that was somehow a limitation. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I guess there is a question from the audience to be answered by you. Any of the audience that they have questions? No? Okay, so thank you, my dear. If there is no question from the audience, I would like to thanks again for your good presentation.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So I think our next presenter will be Mr. Abdul Latif. Are you available?
Yes, I'm available. Thank you. Let me share my screen.
Please do. Very welcome.
Right, thank you so
So I
much.
just wanted to remind you that
Right.
you have
All right.
10 minutes for your main presentation. So, and 5 minutes for Q&A with me and 5 minutes with the audience. So if you are ready, let me know to hold the time.
Okay, I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen, and Please mind the time as well for your 10 minutes presentation from now.
All right. Okay. Only 10 minutes, is it?
Yes, 10 minutes, and then you have 10 minutes for Q&A.
All right. Okay. Let me quickly do that and possibly. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning and good evening, wherever you are in this part of the world. My name is Olanrewaju Abdul Latif, and I have my other members in the writing this paper. 2 members from UITM and 2 from Utah University, Tunku. And the purpose of this paper is to report about the conflicting problem in the procurement of maintenance of affordable housing in Malaysia, with particular reference to the high-rise and prima housing in particular. And there's a lot of complaint in the literatures, in the media, and even government-sponsored research about the poor performance, poor conditions of affordable housing in Malaysia. So that's what prompted this research. Despite the government interventions, the complaints, criticisms in the media still continues. And so this is outline of my presentation in brief. I have introductions. Okay, sorry, I want to actually mute this out. Okay, good. And so this is my intro. This is my introduction. Okay, the system is hanging, I don't know. Okay, yeah, okay, this is my outline. Briefly about that. Yes, affordable housing. Any countries in the world have housing problem, and not least Malaysia. Affordable housing is a global problem. Based on research, 95% of housing of cities in the world are not affordable, meaning that we cannot have adequate accommodation for those in the medium and low income earners. And in Malaysia, more than 70% of people actually are below the medium income earners. So we are basically living in affordable housing, meaning to say more than 70% or 80% of us, we are dwellers of these such housings. And so, however, there have been a lot of interventions. In fact, based on the previous research we conducted, we discovered that even before homeowners move into their houses, there's what we call pre-occupancy obsolescence. Before you even move to your new acquired house, this maintenance problem will always be present, to the extent that the so-called affordable housing are no longer affordable because of the operations and the maintenance costs. So it's a kind of a serious problem. As you can see, Chegani, Abdurrahim, and others have discovered how serious or how common is affordable maintenance of affordable housing in Malaysia, or specifically, let's say, defect. And on this chart, we can see that in Malaysia, annually or monthly, homeowners spend roughly 5% of their income for maintenance, even though the data shows for furnishings, household equipment, and routine household. But we do know that furnishings and all of these are still part of the building maintenance components. So, and this data is actually the average for the whole Malaysia, including those in the low income earner, medium income earner, and the high income earner. So based on our analysis, we find out that actually 70% of this is actually more than 5% what they spend on maintenance, not what they spend for the household rent. In Malaysia, it's about 30% of income is spent on rent. And out of the money they receive, about 5% is actually spent for maintenance. And so because of the serious housing shortage, those are some of the measures government has actually introduced. But we are focusing on only one of these measures, which is the prima housing. That's earlier on, I mentioned that our research is about the prima housing. So the prima housing is actually housing constructed for only Malaysian. If you're not local, you don't have access to such buildings. And they aim to construct about 500,000 housing units. And as of 2016, about 140,000 has been constructed with different ranges. So those are some of the pictures of some of those housing completed, which I will receive on the Prima website just like 1 hour ago. And but the high, as I earlier mentioned, due to the high maintenance costs of the affordable housing, government has actually instituted various maintenance intervention. Those are just examples of those interventions because of the seriousness that the government has itself seen and the poor performance of the housing. And so, however, what we notice is that despite the government interventions, despite the increase in expenditure on maintenance, there are still a lot of complaints in the media, in the government-sponsored report. So this enables us to conduct this research. So from this research, we understand that actually the problem is the procurement of the maintenance process. Procurement is the process involved from the time the client make decision to maintain, and this is for maintenance. For new building as a different definition, but for the procurement of maintenance is a process involved from the beginning. I want to maintain until when the maintenance is completed. So issue of contractual issue of poor planning, poor allocations of funding is what we have noticed is the main problem. Hence this research. And so that's why we conducted an interview. This research is basically based on survey questionnaire in form of an interview, but is based on AHP method in the sense that we meet our respondent. So, but we meet our respondent and we give them our survey, which we design in form of AHP survey, and we ask them some questions. Normally, AHP survey is different from the normal survey we have. So altogether we have, because there are few prima housing that has been completed as of the time where this research was conducted. So only eight in Peninsular Malaysia have been completed. So this research only involved only the 8. So this is the method we use. So this, as you can see from this finding and discussion, the maintenance, our respondent or our interviewee have competence in the maintenance of the prima housings. So some of them are maintenance executives and facility managers, and they also have cognizant professional background in the area of maintenance, like quantity surveying, real estate. So because of this, we are very confident that their experience, their feedback is very correct and reliable. But as you can see also from here, actually, as you remember, just I mentioned that prima housing was developed recently. So we only involve only prima housing more than 1 year old. Why we use 1 year old? Because before 1 year old, maintenance issue may not be obvious. So the one we involved, there are around 3 years old altogether. From beginning, we say any new prima housing less than 1 year completed, we will not involve it. So that's enable us to be able to measure. And it's very interesting to see that actually 400,000 was used for actually more than that, for the maintenance annually. For the new building, to use 400,000 to maintain is very, very high already. is very high. I mean, building less than 3 years old and you maintain it using 400,000 or more, we consider it very high. And it is discovered that most of them actually base their procurement or budgeting process on using the previous expenditure to speculate or to project their expenditure, which is a conditional base. And we all know that conditional base maintenance is not proper, is not good, and is not value-based. The best procurement system is a value-based procurement system. And so this is the descriptions of the criteria which the clients, the PRIMA, use to select their maintenance contractors. So it is very interesting. Number one, we discover is due to the working relationship between the client and the contractor. This is very, very important to have a good relationship with the contractor, especially for maintenance work. Maintenance has a lot of uncertainty before you actually goes in. So if you don't have a good relationship with your contractor, this may jeopardize the essence of maintenance and in fact may lead to more maintenance in the building. And also the PRIMA clients, they also use their experience before in selecting procurement to select the new procurement before. In other words, if they have a list of their previous contractor, they will always use this as one of the basic fundamental feedback. And I'm not sure if I need to
Sorry for
explain all of
interrupting
this.
you, but please mind the time as well. You're out of
Okay,
time.
how many times do I have left?
You don't have time. We have -2.
Okay, so yeah, normally I cannot explain
Just
all of
try,
this
just
because
try
it's
to
quite
conclude it in 2
quite
minutes.
many. So let me go to the conclusion. All right. Okay. So we discovered that with another issue they use to select their procurement contractor is also the quality of the maintenance that the contractors has performed, perhaps on their previous project or on their current project or based on their record. It is very unfortunate that we also find that the conditions of the building is very highly rated. This is not what we expect, but it's what we find. So condition of buildings should not be a yardstick in selecting procurement, because the reason is because when you are doing budgeting for maintenance, your budgeting might take 1 year. Before you do it, there's another more maintenance occur, because why? Maintenance is like cancer. It's keep on spreading from the time you saw it and on time you make the budget proposal. So because of time, let me go to the conclusion. And so what we understand from the overall procurement system is the PRIMA or the housing need a proper maintenance organization. In-house maintenance should not be outsourced. That's what we are trying to outsource maintenance, which is not good for the building. And good, the cost is not the major criteria. This is very good. This is fine. And also, relationship also is very important. And that is the end of my presentation because of time constraints. Sorry if I missed any other point there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Latif. That was interesting and I enjoyed your presentation. I just had a few things in mind. Personally, I was surprised when you said that there are complaints regarding the maintenance fee in Malaysia. According to my view, I always thought that Malaysia is one of the best countries who could handle the maintenance. But so that was interesting for me. But overall saying, I just wanted to give you a suggestion. Affordable, anything which we say it's affordable, it's quite subjective. Affordable for you maybe has different meaning than someone else. So when you're explaining about the situation in Malaysia and you're talking about affordable housing maintenance, I would suggest that you would come up with an example saying that, let's say a house which is 3 years old in a condominium in Malaysia, they have to pay for, let's say, 10 ringgit per square meter for maintenance fee, something like that, something that we can have an image when you're talking about the maintenance fee. So which I think a little bit was missing. It's gonna help to compare with other countries or other places when we talk about affordable housing maintenance. And one more thing, I've noticed you have talked in one of your table regarding the maintenance cost, but furnishing is not considered as maintenance fee. Furnishing is something that based on the taste of the owner, they do that. So we don't consider furnishing part of maintenance fee of when you're talking about high rise, according to your topic. So I just need a little bit of explanation regarding these two from you, please.
Okay, thank you for your question. Your question is quite interesting and insightful. And regarding the affordable, there's a standard definition of affordability, which is a global definition. Affordable housing mean that those that earn the medium income, not the mean income. So any country, I do believe also, and I think you are from Iran, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, it's different all over the world, but there is this, the reference I show one slide. Yes, Urban Reform Institute is an organization that compiled the definition of affordable housing all over the world every year. So if you check this, you can see clearly which country, which city are actually affordable or not in terms of their housing. For example, in Malaysia, the median income is about 6,000 ringgit. So if you are below, is that based on my last estimate, because it's not produced every year. So if your income, if your salary is below or beyond this, you are not a medium income earner. So affordable housing was meant particularly to be for those in this bracket. So it is an international definition, which we can find anywhere. Regarding the second question you asked, this on this table, is, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. Furnishings and household equipment may not be considered as maintenance costs, but we need to understand that we don't buy furnishings every month. We only buy furnishings maybe 1 in 5 years, 1 in 3 years. So invariably, sorry?
Okay. So you go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm
invariably. Yeah. What I'm saying is that we don't buy furniture every year. Some of us buy it maybe 5 years. So invariably, the statistic is actually referring to the bulk of it. Unfortunately, okay, we would love to see it specifically how much is for maintenance, but our interpretation is what now I'm telling you. Furnishing is not what we buy every day, not we buy every month, not we buy every year even, in most cases, like our car. So invariably, at the end of the day, most of this expenditure is actually for maintenance. Actually, I was just fortunate. I was discussing with some student earlier on, like 1 hour ago. That's why I couldn't join. I was in my class. They were able to share with me because I actually asked them to tell me what is the impact of moisture content in their house. It's very interesting that this is what many of them really concerned about, the high maintenance cost. And of course, many of us may not fall into this bracket. You might say, no, this is too high, but this is a government data. It's not my data. So, but but to interpret, it may not be all of this money, but high part of it is for maintenance.
Okay, thanks for your explanation. But for your future studies, I would suggest you to consider these two items. So if there is any question from the audience, I would like to invite you, please. Any
Hi,
question from the
hi,
audience?
Madam Chairperson. May I actually ask questions?
Sure, please.
Yes, please ask question, please.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. Congratulations, Ola Raju. However, I'm not from this area, but I definitely feel the pinch of when you talk about the expenditure on the maintenance. But my question is, when you are looking at a government build project for those middle income group, what are the impact of this? I would say, quote unquote, not well supervised in terms of maintenance. Is it on the government for the long term, or is it for those residents?
Yeah, thank you. Your question is very interesting. Today is, certainly it's for everyone. The government will, because government will continue to allocate money in order to help the rakyat. Those people also, this money also, they will also cannot pay their house rent, cannot meet their medical bill, cannot pay their student school fee if they are parents because of this problem. Many also will have to abandon their building, abandon their houses because of this maintenance problem. So it's a diverse problem that affects everyone, the contractor, the developer, the owners, everybody is affected.
So meaning that is a huge problem need to be tackled immediately. Thank you very much, Ola Raju. Very interesting presentation.
Serious problem. Thank you so much. Serious problem. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Latif. Any another question from the audience? Okay, thanks again, and congratulations for your good paper that you presented. And I hope to see you in our next conferences.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. So, presenter, please.
Hello, P24. P24.
Right.
All right.
Is it okay? Okay. Please allow me to share the screen.
So, I don't have your name. Can you please introduce yourself and your paper? I just wanted
exactly.
to.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So
I'm looking.
ladies. Please go on.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that you have 10 minutes, as you know, and 5 minutes for Q&A with me and 5 minutes with the audiences. And we're all yours, so you just start whenever you are ready by introducing yourself and your co-authors. Go ahead.
So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Imran Muhammad. I am an MBA student at the UCSI University. I'd like to thank the organizer and all the sponsor for giving us an opportunity to present our paper. I'm going to present this paper, and our research topic is the factors that affect the sustainability of eco-villages. So this is the outline of our presentations. I'm not going to spend so much time on it. So mainly I'm going to focus on the challenges of 21st centuries. So why eco-villages? We are facing more and more challenges in 21st centuries. For example, the unbearable heat, which recently happened in Canada, and the recent catastrophic in Germany and in China as well. Many scientists think that it's due to human-caused disruption that is making extreme weather even worse than it was predicted before. And we also have to think about other issues like the current pandemic, accelerating extinction of the animals and plants, and loss of biodiversity, deforestation, and the list goes on. Now the question is, how do we really protect ourselves from these kind of disasters? More and more people think that the answer to the environmental and social political are the eco-villages. They might present local solution to the global challenges. Eco-villages are taking actions and creating solutions for challenges. This includes solutions to help us become more resilient, to build sustainable communities. And so what is exactly an eco-village? So an eco-village is a community with the goal of becoming economically, ecologically, socially sustainable. And their purpose is to create the least impact on the environment by creating their activities, so that these kind of communities can prosper indefinitely. Now, the main issues of the investigation. So far, a substantial amount of research has been conducted on the sustainability, but not a single research existing which takes all the four factors and combining them and looking at their impact on the sustainability of eco-villages. So the major factors are still yet to be none. So it's a general overview of the eco-villages all over the world. I'm going to start with the European eco-villages. The very first eco-village was formed in Iceland called Solheimar in 1930. At that time, this term was not there. The European eco-villages are mainly focused on the education. They run courses like permaculture, personal growth, and other courses related to the personal development. They also do ecotourism and receive thousands of visitors every year. Eco-villages in Asia. Eco-villages in Asia are completely different from the eco-villages in the Europe or in America, because their main purpose, their main activity is the spirituality, and they get and their houses are not eco-friendly, and they get the energy from grid. Hardly they have renewable energy resources. Now the eco-villages in the US. Eco-villages in the US have a mission to create a healthy society. Thus, they mainly focus on agriculture. They use renewable energy resources as well as grid for their energy demand. Thus, it can be concluded that eco-villages in Asia, in America, and in the Europe have different profile, different profile. Now, the location and the number of eco-villages. Based on the definitions given by Gilman and Dawson, there are roughly 200 something eco-villages all around the world. And the population of the people living in the eco-villages is somewhere around 20,000. The age of the eco-village, the concept of the eco-villages has been around since 1930. But recently, the eco-villages are gaining the popularity, and people are trying to live more sustainably in eco-villages. As we can see in the graph, there were roughly 10 eco-villages until 70s. However, in the last 2 decades, almost 200 eco-villages have been formed. Now, the problem statement. The problem statement of this is that the renewable energy is quite common in the eco-villages. That's not the problem. The problem is the energy efficiency, which is and where the eco-villages give very little attention. The other problem is the organic farming, which is also the growing concern for the communities. Significant problems of organic yields are high labor input, high cost, and very less yield. Finding a job is also a concern for the communities within the eco villages. So these are the main problems in the eco villages. Now we move to the objective of the research. So basically there are 2 objectives of this research. Number 1, the main objective of this research to investigate the factors that affect the sustainability of eco-villages. And the other objective is to provide a sustainable model based on technology to the eco-villages. Now, the significance of this research can give some valuable information to the community members with regard to the usage of technology in the eco-villages and improve their lifestyle and come over their challenges. Research question. This research had four questions, such as whether energy efficiency, organic farming, telework, and social media affect the sustainability of eco-villages or not. Similarly, we had four hypotheses. The limitation of the research, mainly we had three limitations of the research, like we could not reach out the eco-villages, those who don't use internet, because there are eco-villages who are reluctant to use the technology. Then we have literature review. I'd like to skip this part. This is the conceptual framework of this research. Then the research approach. We used a quantitative research method, and the questionnaire was sent to 205 eco-villages all over the world. 2 eco-villages were excluded due to not having internet. This is the operational definition. A questionnaire, self-administered questionnaire, was sent to the eco-villages, and there were 6 sections in the questionnaire adopted from the following authors. Now, data analysis. The collected data was analyzed by mean score, regression analysis, and multiple regression. Now, the findings. To answer the objective 1 and the 4 research question which was proposed, to answer the social media and telework, organic farming, and social media, organic farming, telework, and energy efficiency affect the sustainability of eco-villages. How they affect the sustainability based on the mean score of the energy efficiency and energy efficiency, organic food, telework, and the social media. Now we have the regression analysis. The regression analysis, the result of the regression analysis shows the R value of the R-square value of this is 2.47%, which 2.247, which means that the model explains 24.7% of the variance in the sustainability of eco-villages by energy efficiency, organic food, telework, and the social media. Next, we have a coefficient value. The coefficient value regression analysis result shows that the energy efficiency, telework, and social media are statistically significant. However, the importance of values of organic food is greater than the significant value, which means that the organic food does not significantly predict the sustainability of eco-villages. This might be like the people living in the eco-villages are purchasing food from outside, or they have sufficient food to produce within the community, but that's not the case with all the communities. Then we have—
Dear Imran, please consider that you have only 2 minutes left.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. This is the answer to objective 2, which was to propose a model to the eco-villages. So these are the 3 main factors which affect the sustainability of eco-villages: energy efficiency, telework, and social media. Now, the contribution of the research. This research can contribute to the body of knowledge, and to the society, and also to the struggling eco-villages to overcome their challenges, like in terms of employment or food, and also the social factor. The conclusion of the research: a sustainable model of eco-villages worldwide measured by 4 main variables in this research, which is energy efficiency, organic food, telework, and social media. As a result, the findings of this research demonstrated the sustainability of eco-villages is significantly affected by energy efficiency, telework, and social media. This research also proposed 4 hypotheses. However, 3 out of 4 hypotheses were supported, and 1 hypothesis was not supported. The recommendation of the research. This research mainly focused on the 4 major factors and combining them. However, in the future, the economic part of the eco villages can be a very good factor to do the research. How the economic part affect the sustainability of eco villages, or is there any impact of the economic part, or they are 2 separate things? Thank you very much for listening to me. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, so I said thanks for your time management, and this was one of my favorite topic. I just wanted
Thank you very
to
much.
ask you a question. So when you were explaining about eco villages in Asia, they didn't have any of the factors that they should have. So which sources did you take that eco villages in Asia are not, being honest, very eco village? Because according to your finding, I still have to admit that I couldn't see the source in your presentation, which is quite good if you can put a note of references. So the way that they have been chosen as eco village, but still not having the main factors, it's quite strange for me. And another question is that, do you have eco village in Malaysia?
I'd
Which I
love to
guess
have.
you
Yeah, I'd
do.
love to have very soon, maybe in next 5 years.
All right. So, and then a little bit of explanation.
Yeah.
What was your source or reference regarding eco village in Asia?
Eco village in Asia. We read actually more than 5 to 6 books, particularly about eco villages, and more than 150 research articles. So that's how we collected all our data. And I'd like to add one more point. There are not only 200 eco villages. There are thousands of eco villages, but they are not genuine eco villages. They claim themselves to be an eco village. The purpose is not about the environment or living a sustainable lifestyle. It's not about that. Their purpose is to market their business and influence people's decision, so that and these eco villages are eco resorts, hotels, but they market themselves as an eco village. So that's why we focused on Dawson's and Gilman's definition, and according to that, we concluded that genuine eco villages, and there are 200, roughly 200 eco villages.
Okay, so do we have any body for, I mean, any main body appointed by the government regarding rating the eco villages? I mean, in Malaysia specifically.
My mother would like to answer this question.
Okay, sorry for interrupting. Yes, I did some research in Malaysia, and I found, in fact, 2 eco villages, so-called eco villages, but they are only brand. In fact, they just a facade over a hotel. And I want to tell another example. For example, there are 12,000 of eco villages in Sri Lanka, but they are all organized from the top, from an organization. All the others, the genuine eco villages, are organized from the bottom. Individuals team up to create eco villages. This is the main difference. That's why the eco villages in Sri Lanka, they are simply not viable. They fall apart because people who live there, they have no idea what is sustainability. They have plastic chairs, they don't know how to handle the solar panels, and they have other issues. Unfortunately, in Malaysia, I didn't find a genuine eco-village, though I think there are a lot of communities who unintentionally live a sustainable life in villages in Malaysia, but they don't call it eco-village.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. And then the last things which I guess it can help you. When you were talking about your contribution, you said that this research can help by the, if I don't mistaken, in technology improvement in eco-villages. But according to your paper, I couldn't see how you want to help with the technology improvement in eco-villages. I didn't see any, let's say, recommendation or anything. Did I miss anything?
It's like in terms of the technology, there are two different kind of eco villages. Like some
I
eco
know,
villages.
I mean, specifically regarding your paper, because you said that this research is going to help regarding the technology improvement. So I want to know how this research is going to help.
Yeah, in this like we talked about the social media, and we talked about the telework. So these are two factors were taken as a technological factor, because when you are not committing to work, you are working from the eco village. It means you are using the technology. But what happens? Some eco villages in Europe and in not in Asia, so in Europe and in America, they are reluctant to use the technology. So when these factors are really affecting the sustainability, they can improve their lifestyle, like organic farming, which is the problem, like less yield and these kind of things. So if they use the technology, it can improve and can save the cost and time, and that cost and time can be invested somewhere else, right? So that's why, yeah, please.
All right. So my questions were a little bit like more than usual. Maybe I'll have to ask audiences if they have any question. We have to welcome them. Okay, but in overall, I have to admit that your paper is very interesting, and I
Thank
hope
you.
that you would continue this research till one day
Yeah,
soon you
when I
can come up with
do my PhD.
yeah practical idea of eco-village.
Yep.
So thank you so much. I guess there's no question from the audience, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Continue the research.
Yep.
Good job. So can we proceed with our next presenter? So we have two papers left. Mr. Bu Ho Woon, I can't hear you.
Yes, thank you.
I think, okay. Okay, so go ahead, please. So I just wanted to again repeat that we have 10 minutes for your presentation, please.
Is it my turn now?
Yes.
I thought I'm at 3:20.
The thing is that our first presenter couldn't make it, so that's why we had to like shift it.
I see. Okay. So I'm sharing.
Sorry for any inconvenience, but
No,
we
it's
are
okay.
all
Yeah,
here to hear from you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm sharing my slide now. Can you see, Madam Chairman?
Yes, very
All right.
clearly.
Okay, good. So good afternoon to everyone. Yeah, I'm BH Woon from Kuching, together with my co-authors, Li Ping Huang and I-Kit Teo. I hope Li Ping is joining us from Zhejiang, Shanghai, China. Is she here? Yeah. Right.
I'll have to check.
Yeah, Li Ping Huang. Today, I would like to share with all of us here on this sustainable suburban environment and service for happy households. And I'm sharing with you the case study of this Batukawa suburb in Kuching, Sarawak. Right. So as we know, having a well-planned and sustainable suburban socio-economic development is essential. Achieving and sustaining a livable and vibrant suburban environment is among the key focus of many governments and also local authorities for sustainability. And of course, the state and local governments, as well as other public and private organizations, have consistently and continuously recognized the need for sustainable socio-economic development. And of course, in this vibrant and dynamic suburban development, we can see that there are many challenges, but especially these various levels of governments and also individuals have been working together for this desired socio-economic development. And you can see that the environment and services provided are helping the happier households to create these happy households as well as sustaining it. And this ideally includes the public services and utilities, commercial and retailing services, agriculture and marketing, infrastructure and utilities, tourism and hospitality, education and human resources, safety and security, and as well as this spiritual and morality. You can see this interesting aspects being stressed in this suburban Batukawa. So I would like to share with all of us this sustainable suburban development, environment, and service. And also I would like to share with you some of the insights from Shaoxing, Zhejiang, China, right? Where my co-author actually is helping to gather some of the information there, all right? So that we can learn from that particular suburban area. So just to enlighten us with the location of this Kuching, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this place, but just want to be sure, we are in Sarawak. As you can see here, Sarawak is in Borneo Island, right? So it is separated by this sea, as all of us know. It is not near to Kuala Lumpur, as a lot of us may have thought, right? And here is, you can see red dot here is Kuching city. And down here is Kalimantan. As we know, the new capital city of Indonesia will be somewhere here, right? Yeah. And Kuching city, as we know, is the city of Kate, right? Yeah. Okay. And as you can see here, Kuching division and southwestern part of Kuching division or the city here is Batukawa area here. So I shared it here, Batukawa suburban, right? As you can see, it's like about maybe 7 kilometers from the heart of the Kuching city. Right, so for this qualitative research, we started with, of course, this literature review and followed suit with these qualitative interviews. And we went through the various related documents from the municipal councils and also other related sources like social media, right? Especially the Facebook contents of this N14 from Dr. Sim Kui Hian, the representative of Batukawa. And through this qualitative research, we asked various questions to understand why the citizens there or the residents there are very satisfied staying in Batukawa and how this Batukawa can improve so that these households will be happier, right? So we conducted the qualitative interview, which we have already completed. And now we are going into the quantitative phase. So today I'm sharing with you the qualitative findings and also some insights from Shaoxing, Zhejiang, right? And finally, of course, we will be coming out with the S4H2 model, right? That will be the quantitative phase, which I'm not going to share with you today, right? So of course, in the literature review, the main reference will be the Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 goals. Originally 102 items, but you can see that for suburban development, we can see that about 18 items are relevant because some of the items are about imports and exports and international aspects. So we focus on these various items in developing our questionnaire. Of course, with the help of the qualitative interviews inputs as well. So as we know that there are various socio-economic initiatives by the municipal councils and also the local governments in helping the households. Like they actually encourages and give licenses to various private commercial premises, and also you can see the private properties in Kuching area under Padawan, you can see has been increasing. And there are various poverty eradication programs to help the poor households, and various public health services by the authorities. As we can see here, vetting of building and engineering plans and issuing licenses, public health services like food samples and premises, and also the these safety and health aspects, right? Control of Nyamok Aedes and so on, right? Premises are being fogged and so on. All these are the public health services and initiatives, including the solid waste management and so on, including also the stray dogs and so on, right? So that these households in this Batkawa area will be safe and live in a conducive environment, right? And also economically vibrant for them to improve their livelihoods as well, right? So in these qualitative interviews, we ask a few questions like, are you happy? Why are you happy? What are the challenges that you face? And then how can your household be happier and so on, right? So with that, we got some very interesting findings, and we found that these households in this suburban area can be rather self-sufficient, and they actually, with the help of these stable political situations and also the economic as well as these infrastructural and public utilities, they are actually able to come up with their creative strategies and tactics to improve their livelihood and to be happy staying in these particular suburban areas. And among the various inputs from them, or the reasons why they are happy staying in Batakawa, are these multiracial neighborhood, and also the friendliness of the people, safety, and also this convenient to the various utilities and amenities, right? Near to public services, and proximity to source of incomes, and also the problems can be solved quite fast by the various local authorities and the councils, right? Peaceful living environment, harmonious, fast socio-economic development, and there are actually new projects coming up. They can see there are many opportunities available, right? And I just want to share with you these some of the nice pictures so that we can understand, right? Because pictures can tell 1,000 words, right? So you can see this Batakawa Bazaar, right? One of the original towns in this Batakawa suburban, right? And among the
Just
big
please
projects here,
have in mind that you have 2 minutes left.
all right, yeah. So this is the latest projects here, Riverside, window of Batakawa, right? And you can see that there are many facilities around. Dawn in Batakawa, right? Yeah, just to share with you. Yeah, and fellowship and socializations among the various folks there. So they have places to go for socialization. Social cultural diversity, you can see in this suburban area. Social welfare and service, and also NGOs, various churches, and also mosques, right? You can see. Modern housing and facilities, people are coming back to build their own houses, more economical and healthy. Economic and morality being stressed and developing steadily, and with this can sustain the socio-economic development. Economic activities in Batakawa, modern farming is can be seen here in this Batakawa area. Infrastructure and public utilities, healthcare services. We have just hit about 8,000 vaccinations recently, right, to vaccinate the households here. Commercial and light industries can be seen. Sustainability and happiness. And some of the lessons learned from South Sing, you can see that nature beauty is being preserved, and you can see here culture and promotions being promoted, and also infrastructure, things that we can learn from them, especially the public transport and healthcare services. And with these rural characteristics preserved amidst suburbanization in South Sing, that is something that we can learn for Batu Kawah. Amidst this fast development, we have this authenticity being preserved, right? So you can see that this suburban environment and service are household oriented, and nevertheless, the continuous and consistent socio-economic activity from governments at various levels and constant efforts from all stakeholders are always needed. The evolving needs and wants of the households have to be understood from time to time, right? So welcome to Batu Kawah, Kuching, one day. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was so interesting. So seeing you're happy there can give some safe feeling regarding your research, that you know what you're doing when you consider happiness in this part of sustainable areas. So I hope that I can visit the place one day. So my question is that according to the last presentation, I did ask whether there is any source, I mean, any board or body from the government that can rate and check whether these sustainable villages or cities are having the factors that they should have, or is it just a name that they use it for their branding? So since last presenter admitted that there is no organization to check, so I wanted to know whether the Kuching area that you took it as your scope of study, is it based on your own finding and research, or do you have any reference as let's say a governmental organization to prove that this area is sustainable and eco-friendly, as you said?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. Actually, for these urban cities and the cities like Kuching City South and Kuching City North, they have a benchmark with various cities in other parts of the world, and actually they go for this healthy city and also these local agendas G21 for this benchmarking. But for suburban like Batu Kawah, they have yet to come up with the framework and measurement model for this sustainable development. That's why this the council is very interested to listen to us as far as this socio-economic development and sustainable development is concerned. So we will be working with them for this measurement model. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So that was well explained. I have no more question. If there is any question from the audience, I
have one question, Prof. Sharona.
Please go ahead.
Prof. Wood, congratulations
yes,
for the
Prof.
presentation. I find it very interesting because when you mentioned about happier household, okay, yes. Household, I think it's quite subjective because when we are comparing Kuching and perhaps in Kuala Lumpur, what actually I can see the developer is doing to promote quote unquote happier household by having more parks. Okay, they're having a parks, they have a lot of greeneries, and yet it's gated community because there are so many social issues around. So and when people actually choosing a place where they want actually to buy a house, the address, okay, is very important because it represents on perhaps a reputation, or perhaps that is considered happier household if you were to compare your residential area to other people. What's your take on that?
Yeah, after talking, yeah, my co-author is here, Li Ping. Yeah, can you wave your hand, Li Ping? Yeah, the one in red, yes, from South Sing, Zhejiang, China. Huh? Yeah. So after talking to the residents through these personal interviews and also focus groups online, We understand that, to have these happier households, it encompasses various aspects, right? Easily 10 components that we have categorized them, ranging from the hard KPIs, right? And also the soft aspects, like Prof. Rahana said, is the family members being together, and also the social lifestyles and togetherness, and also the these leisure sports and cultural preservation, right? So this definition of happiness is quite different from a lot of literature. That's why we are trying to define this happiness from this suburban point of view, and also from various cultural backgrounds. As this, my co-author has been sharing with me, happiness from the Chinese perspective is very holistic in nature. It is not only the financial, the well-being, the wealth that makes you happy, right? The Western word happy is quite different from the Western value happiness, right? To us, it's a blissfulness, it's very blessed kind of the state of happiness. It's more than just our normal understanding of happy, that momentous joy and happiness as we have understood. It is actually the family as a whole. Everybody is happy, then we will be happy, right? Not only the financial, it includes the health, it includes the togetherness, it includes the morality aspects, and then the even the disease, Prof. Sharona, even the disease, that is part and parcel of the happiness of the household's happiness. That's why you can see that some of the believers, they actually worship their ancestors during the first day and the 15th day of the month, right? So having a chance or together with the deceased is also one of the elements of happiness of the household. You will be impressed by the holistic definitions and expectations of the household, expectations on happiness. Yeah, thank you, Prof. Rahana.
Thank you very much, Prof. In fact,
Yeah.
I think a short note. In fact, perhaps for my children, closer to mall, closer to hangout place, that's happier for them.
Yeah. Money is not very important, so to speak,
Yeah, because you mentioned about different back.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so
Thank you, Prof.
Yeah.
So any opinion from your
Yeah,
co-authors?
Yeah, maybe Li Ping can share with us happiness and suburban development.
I couldn't find his name in the audience.
Nova 5i, I think.
Okay, if they have
are you there?
anything to share.
I think she's losing her connection.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, any another question from the audiences, please?
Yeah, we're waiting for Li Ping.
I think your topic is very interesting. Congratulations.
Yeah, because I thought this suburban is not well investigated yet. Yeah, we can come up with something very useful.
Yeah. Meanwhile that you're waiting for your co-author, I just wanted to check with you something. When you were asking the audiences, regarding with the questionnaire or interview, did you consider children as well, or did you consider only the adults?
Yeah, we interview various levels: the young adults, the adults, and also the senior citizens.
Okay, but not children.
Yeah, children may not be so informed yet to tell us about this household. Yeah, but in the questionnaires, we may include them with the ethic approval. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Li Ping, you can say something about. Yeah, Li Ping.
Mr. Boone, Dr. Boone, congratulations. And I do find your study is really interesting, talking about happiness. And we understand that the definition of the happiness differs from one country or maybe one state to the next state. But okay, I missed this. by your finding, based on your finding, the respondents are the households. So what do they say? What makes them happy?
Yeah, like I say just now, one of the reasons, of course, is the economic reasons, but there are also family reasons and social preservation reasons as well, right? Transportation, the economic activities, the sports and recreation, family can be together, and also actually the family members, everybody is socio-economically sound and good, and also they are well behaved, and also they are able to
Yes,
find
I
a
want to
livings
explain.
and be together. This will contribute to the happiness.
Okay, yeah. What do you find it really, really different, your finding with other findings? I mean, when they talk about happiness.
I think over this suburban area will be more comprehensive, right? Yeah, will be more comprehensive compared to the rural area, because they may not have much problems with these economic incomes, but they have a lot of challenges in the social aspects. Yeah,
Due
like
to the
health
situation.
and togetherness and so on, time for the family and the next generation, whether they are actually performing well or not. That is more of their concerns.
Yeah, probably because of the situation and the environment that they're living in.
Yeah.
This is really interesting. See what happened in 10 years time. Whether your finding will be the same still.
Yes. Yeah. Li Ping, you have something to say? Will you be able to speak to us, Li Ping?
By the way, have you considered the crime rate in Kuching? Because as far as people having these factors and they are happier, the crime rate should be very lower than other places. Have you considered and checked the crime rate there?
That is one of the aspects in our quantitative survey, is the safety and health aspect. And they feel safe, but from the qualitative interviews, they have been saying that they feel safe staying in Batakawa. Of course, there are thefts here and there, small thefts, but by and large, nighttime they feel safe. As one of the SDGs, they feel safe.
Okay, but my suggestion for you is that maybe in future studies, you can go and check the records and find some connection between safe and happy in the terms of the participant of the question and interview that they mentioned to you, and the real data that you can gather from police stations. It might help you in your future study.
Oh yes, we can tally with the hard data from the various departments, to know the crime level.
So I think we can connect to your co-author.
Yeah. Li Ping, can you say something? Will you be able to talk to us?
But it's fine. Maybe for next paper of you in our next conferences, we can host your co-author. That was interesting, and one more time, thanks for your good presentation.
Yes, thank you very much. Thanks for the inputs.
You're welcome. Well done.
Thank you. Bye.
Good luck. Bye. So I just wanted to check whether we have our first presenter who missed the session. Miss Rosita Abdul Latif.
Rosita is not right. I think so, Dr. Sharona. Let me check the list. There's no Rositas here.
They're not available.
Yeah. Rosita. On behalf of Rosita.
Rosita Abdul Latif, Muhammad Shafiq, Hisham, Muhammad Wafi, Antoaneta Dimitrovic, any of them?
No.
Okay, so one more time, I would like to thank Amira Abra, Prof. Yusuf, and the whole committee. and all the participants for your good presentation and good research. And we hope to see you again on next conference. That was my honor to enjoy all your good presentations today.
Thanks, Sharona.
Okay.
You're welcome, Pro. Thanks for inviting me.
Well done, Prof. Sharona.
Thank you, Prof. Muhammad. Yeah, long time no see. 12 years already in Kuching.
Yes, good. Okay.
Yeah, good.
See you
We
around.
all have to go to Kuching.
Yes, yes.
We have Nick, carry on, Nick.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you again, Dr. Sharona, for sharing Breakout
You're
2
welcome.
and also my paper with paper number 4. Okay, thank you. And Adi, yeah, Imran. Okay, Adi, yeah, over to you, Adi.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Thank you, Dr. Sharona.
Over to you.
You're welcome.